James wants to know this. Hello, Jimmy. This is a threefold question regarding angels.
Oh, boy.
When were the angels created by God? What motivated Lucifer and the other angels to rebel against God? Were they all cast down upon the earth, or do they exist in another spiritual dimension, separated from God, and pass back and forth between that spiritual dimension and the earth?
Okay, so we are not told when the angels were created, so it's a matter of speculation. However, most authors have concluded that they were made by God before mankind was made. Now, in terms of scientific cosmology, we don't know when that would have been. You could guess anything. They could have been created before the Big Bang. They could have been created because the Big Bang just deals with the origin of the physical world, not the spiritual world that angels come from. They could have been created, a million years before mankind. They could have been created at all kinds of points, but most people have concluded that they were created before man. One reason for that is that in the book of Job, there is a passage where God recalls creation, and he's kind of grilling Job. It is like, were you here when creation happened and the foundation stone of the earth was laid and the sons of God shouted for joy, and the stars shouted for joy, with stars being an image of angels? And so that would suggest that they were present at the creation of the physical world. There's a book from about 150 years before the time of Christ called Jubilees, and it's basically a rewritten version of Genesis and part of Exodus. I did a Mysterious World about it a few weeks ago, and it's a really fascinating book. According to the Jubilist, which is what you can call the author of Jubilees, the angels were created on the first day of creation from Genesis 1. And not only were they created then, according to the Jubilist, but all spirits of God's creatures were created then. So the Jubilist thinks that even like human spirits were created, that they didn't come into existence at conception, but on the first day of creation, which is an interesting idea that has not generally been favored in Christian history. Also, the Jubilist gives us a bunch of details about the different kinds of angels, and some of it's really fascinating. He says that that there are basically 7 classes of angels, and the 2 highest, the angels of the presence and the angels of holiness, get to be with God in heaven, but the others are like down on earth, run in nature. So there's like angels of fire and angels of wind and stuff like that that govern the natural elements of the world. And interestingly, only the 2 kinds of angels in heaven take the Sabbath off. They rest with God on the Sabbath. But the angels run in nature, they got to keep working.
I guess so.
And keep nature running. And also the 2 classes of angels that are with God in heaven all the time, they're created circumcised. Whereas the angels run in nature are not created circumcised. And so you've got this kind of Jewish class of angels up in heaven and the Gentile class of angels run down on earth.
Right.
In terms of, now none of that's biblical, so don't trust all that stuff. But I just think it's fascinating that they would go there. It's like, wow, circumcised angels. Okay. Now, in terms of why they fell, it's common for Christians to think about the angels having just one fall, like they all fell at the same moment. But that's actually not the model that seems to be in the minds of the biblical authors. They seem to envision different falls of angels. In terms of the primordial fall, because you've got Satan, he's the serpent, and so that fall had to occur very early. We don't know. We're never told, and there's been a lot of speculation about that. Some people have said, oh, the devil, it was pride, and other people have said, oh, he knew that Jesus was going to incarnate as a man, and he couldn't bear the thought of bowing down to an earthly being like a man, and so that's why he rebelled. I'm very, very skeptical of all of these attempts to get inside the devil's head and figure out why he fell. Fundamentally, it's irrational. Sin makes you stupid. And so I'm more comfortable saying we just don't know. In terms of later falls, like the sons of God who married the daughters of men, well, that's what they're portrayed as. That's the motivation for their fall. They want to get hitched and have babies, when that's not what angels are supposed to do. Now, whether you believe that's the correct interpretation of the passage or not, there were a lot of Jewish people in the Second Temple era who thought that. And so that's one of the options that at least is in the Jewish mind. In terms of were they all cast down on the earth, or do they exist in a spiritual dimension and kind of pass back and forth? Scripture presents them, at least the ones that are free, as moving back and forth between the spiritual world and earth. But there are different ways of conceptualizing this. Now, some of the Second Temple literature and even the later books of the New Testament, like Second Peter and Jude, talk about certain spirits have been put in prison, but others are still roaming free, and some of them, according to some conceptualizations, live in the atmosphere, but in an invisible way that we can't otherwise detect.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this Catholic Answer, be sure to like, subscribe, and check out our live streams Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific. Or find the episode after on YouTube, your favorite podcast platform, or our Catholic Answers app.